Pick 1212. Copy, copy here. Got you loud and clear. Green, wrong side.
The Performance Motorsports Network presents Burning Rubber Radio.
Burning rubber, baby.
I know what the tradition is. You don't even have to explain it. And here it is. Burning rubber, baby!
Now, from the White Lightning TV studios in Statesville, North Carolina, here is your host, Andy DeLay.
Burning rubber, baby. Y'all are listening to the fastest 60 minutes in motorsports, Burning Rubber Radio. I'm your host, Andy DeLay, back for another week of motorsports fun, or whatever you call this talk.
I was going to say, of course it's fun. Who you kidding?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we talk probably half the time about what's going on. The other time, you know, about how fat you are. And,
you mean how fat you are?
Oh, my Lord. Anyway, we're at you on the air on wingding.tv. I'm just glad you're here listening to us. Of course, we want to thank all our sponsors, Monster 3X Concept Lures. And if you want to go fishing, you're down here and listening to us on the Tan Talk Network where there's some salt water. Of course, you can go get you Monster 3X Concept Lure.
And you can also use it on freshwater, too. That's been proven.
Yeah. That's what I keep saying. You can use them in freshwater too, man, and just knock them dead. So monster3xusa.com. Go check them out. And of course, we got a lot of neat stuff coming up. We've just signed some, we'll just say right there within the next week or something, we've just signed
we've signed some brand
sponsor.
new partners. So
yeah. So you'll be hearing about that here coming up, Wayne. And
yep.
So what's up with you?
Not a whole lot, actually. Been a busy weekend full of fireworks, shall we say, with it being Labor Day weekend. And man, I'll tell you what,
last weekend was Labor Day weekend.
Well, okay, so last weekend was Labor Day weekend. For folks that are listening on Tan Talk or, you know, wherever you might be hearing us at later on in the week, obviously, again, the transparency, we record the show on Mondays, but the fact still resides is that Monday being Labor Day when we're recording here, so you know, me and Andy, we got a few drinks over here because God knows I've turned him into an alcoholic.
God, a raging one.
By the admittance of his wife yesterday on Sunday.
How about there? Oh, there's more Blue Chair Bay stuff. We found all the different flavors, and we tried this pineapple cream stuff.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, folks. Stuff there. Well, what does John say? Make your tongue slap your brains out?
Yep, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Good stuff. And we will have the NASCAR chef on the program this hour along Taylor Burris. He's going to be with us too, right?
Yep. Old TB is going to be back with us here. And some interesting news that we'll touch on out of the USF 2000 world. One of the guys that he works with over at Kart Chaser just did something big this past weekend.
And we'll hear about that a little later here in the show. I'm all excited about that. See what happens when we'll say he yelled "burning rubber, baby" this season, and we'll tell you what happened.
Yes, we will. And not to mention our boy John Force is in the news too this week, Andy.
I did not know. What did John do?
Well, we'll talk about that when we come back here in just a couple of moments. And this is Burning Rubber Radio, baby. You know how we do it, Andy. Burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber, baby.
We'll be right back. News of the week coming up.
I'm Andy DeLay, and you're listening to Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Want to maximize your driving potential? Drive Refine is the driver optimization program for you. Led by NASCAR winning driver Joey Coulter. No matter if you race locally, nationally, or on a simulator, with a little or a lot of experience, Drive Refine focuses on your tuning scale to optimize communication between the driver and their crew chief. Visit driverefine.com for more information today.
Hey, this is former NASCAR driver Joey Coulter. This isn't your typical driver coaching. This is Drive Refine.
Burning Rubber Radio is social. Like the show at facebook.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Follow on Twitter at twitter.com/BRR_PMN. And on Instagram at instagram.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network, Tan Talk Radio Network, Wingding.tv, and all of our wonderful radio affiliates around the USA and the world. And it's Wayne Owens, Andy DeLay hanging out with you on a again, we're recording this on Labor Day 2023. Of course, folks, you'll hear this later on in the week on all of our affiliate radio stations. But we want to send out a big happy Labor Day to everybody who had a chance to celebrate it on Monday. And whether you took the day off, whether you were working, whatever the case might have been. I know I took the day off. I don't know about you, Andy.
Hey, I get Mondays off anyway.
Yeah,
but I'm getting paid.
Yeah, exactly. You get that holiday pay.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, some good stuff here. But we got to jump over into some news of the week here. And you know what? I didn't have to eat crow again this week. Alex Bowman didn't win when it comes to the Lady in Black. So this weekend here, Kyle Larson, though, Andy, he's at it again.
Good old Kyle Larson. And he did not have the fastest car that evening. He just had the fastest car in the last lap. That's all that mattered. Because Denny Hamlin was out there just beating everyone's behind until he had a vibration or whatever that was that put him 2 pit stops. I don't even know what it really was. How can you have a vibration with the single lug nuts? What I'm trying to think.
So what they're actually referring to with a single vibration. Now, granted, this is just from what I've learned from Jeremy over the last couple of years since they instituted the single lug, is that vibration is actually the lug nut making, literally just not on there tight enough, and it's making that vibrate the wheel, almost like a wheel hop and a vibration in the axle is what it is.
So basically, it was probably going to come off if he'd have kept going.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now we go all the way back around to why in the heck is NASCAR using a single lug nut?
Yeah, we could sit and have that discussion all day, every day, but personally, I'm with you. It should still be 5 lugs. And, who cares if you have a sub 10-second pit stop? I mean, Coach Wayne DeLoria, he was the first one to get a sub 12 with 5 lug nuts. So, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. But then again, let's say that the 5 lug nut thing isn't an argument anymore, right?
Right.
How come we don't see Indy cars and F1 cars going down the track with the wheels flying off of them? Only NASCAR.
Uh-huh. Exactly, because there's a massive, and again, folks, there's a massive difference in weight on the cars in IndyCar versus NASCAR. So, whereas you have this 4,000-pound stock car, holding down these 4 tires with this single giant lug nut, as compared to IndyCar, if I'm not mistaken, I think the weight of the car itself, sans driver, is sub 2,000 pounds.
Yes, that's correct.
So at that point, there's not as much, even though there's a lot more downforce on the car when it comes to IndyCar versus NASCAR, there's not as much weight on pushing on those axles.
So do you think that has a lot to do with why wheels are getting away from stock cars versus IndyCar?
I have a serious feeling that's exactly what it is. Now, again, I'm not mechanically inclined to the least bit of a degree here. Jeremy, honestly, I think would be the guy would want to talk to about that one and confirm that. But either which way, yeah, I have a feeling that the weight differential is where the biggest problem is coming into play.
Very cool. Folks, chime into what you think about this. Head on over to our Facebook page, Burning Rubber Radio, and tell us what you think about single lug nuts and stuff.
Well, I'm sure we'll hear about it from a lot of folks because we know our faux friends over in NAPCAR don't seem to take too kindly to the single lug either. So
no, that's the land of NAPCAR outcasts on Facebook and Floyd Up the Grove and all those folks.
And of course, I say faux friends being Floyd because I don't know.
And you guys always lock horns.
Yeah, we lock horns over the simplest stuff.
Anyway,
yep, moving on. Yep, moving on to other news here. Moving on to the Xfinity Series, actually, Andy. And this past weekend, speaking of Denny Hamlin, gets the win in what should have been Ty Gibbs's number 19 in the Xfinity Series at Darlington this weekend.
Yeah, he stole the boys' lunch money in the Xfinity Series.
Well, we all know that Ty is not that great anyway. So
I'm not a Ty Gibbs fan. The kid's a pompous ass, if you ask me, and that's about as far as I'll go with. Yeah, did I just get air wrenched?
you certainly did. Oh man, yep. Andy got air wrenched, and now that we're starting with that, I've got the sound effects at bay ready to go. So
Oh, great, good deal. So anyway, John Hunter Nemechek, he's leading the points. There is one thing that's going on. Riley Herbst and Parker Kligerman are in a dogfight for the last spot in the Xfinity Series playoffs right now. And Riley Herbst just passed Parker by 1 point.
Oh,
because
man.
Parker and Sam, what's his face?
Sam Mayer.
That's it. They got together, and of course Parker wasn't happy in it, and Anyway, that put him back behind the
put him behind the proverbial 8-ball. But thankfully, it's only by 1 point, so they still have Kansas coming up this weekend where where PK can try and do something and get himself back up and in running order here for the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs. A little bit of sad news, actually, Andy, coming into the world of the Craftsman Truck Series here. I don't know if you saw the news this past weekend, but Matty D is not going to be with Rackley War anymore after this season.
That's right. Matt D. Benedetto is out of Rackley War. Something's up. He's got something brewing, man. As much as I like Matt D. Benedetto, he tends to cry a lot. And he didn't cry leaving this time, and something's going on. He's going to land somewhere.
Yeah, he's going to do something really good because like you look at the statement that he even made on social media this past week when everything came around. After careful consideration, I've decided not to return to Rackley War for the 2024 season. Very thankful to have been a part of a team's tremendous growth over the last 2 years. And, he vehemently thanked Curtis and Willie for the opportunity. Yep. And you notice when he left Wood Brothers originally from the Cup Series back years ago, there wasn't that same level of, compassion and thanks.
There was nothing. He left whining pretty much about how he got screwed over by the Wood Brothers and everything, and in so many words.
Well, and maybe even not so much the team itself, but the race team that they had for him. His crew, man, there were so many miscues, so many mistakes on a weekly level. Matt has always been a top-level competitor. There's no doubt about it. And, one just has to wonder, what if they would have given him a better crew, a better pit crew a little bit sooner, and we could have seen something from Matty D in the Cup Series back years ago.
I agree, but keep in mind the Wood Brothers are basically a Ford development team right now.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe he just didn't fit the Ford mold.
You never know. Because he's done very well under the Chevy camp. Look at all the top 10 finishes. He has propelled not just himself. There's no I in team, but with what he has done in the Craftsman Truck Series in a Chevrolet, along with the team that Curtis and Willie have given him over at Rackley War, between the three of them and that entire organization, they have gone from Matt, finishing mired in the back of the field to having consistent top 10 finishes, if not top 5 finishes, and even the one win last year at Nashville.
That's right.
Yeah. So, really, in theory, it was a blessing in disguise for Matt to go to Rackley War, because at that point, Rackley War, they were even having their own issues with their own drivers, being mired back in the back of the field and everything like that, whether it be talent, whether it be skill, whatever the case, whatever you want to call it at that point. But then you put Matt DiBenedetto in the truck, and it's like night and day difference.
I agree. I just wonder who they're going to put in that truck next year.
Yeah, time will tell. We haven't heard anything yet from the folks over at Rackley War. I probably need to go put a bug in Willie's ear and be like, "Hey, who you putting in next year?"
He'll give you the Kentucky howdy. He'll say you'll hear it when everybody else hears it.
Exactly. we love the folks over Rackley War.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
They've been good friends to us over the last couple of years. Actually, speaking of which, moving on over now to a little bit more Craftsman Truck Series news here before we get ready to hit to the next foreign fuel here. And Andy Ty Majeski got himself an L2 penalty this past week after things that happened at Milwaukee Mile.
Milwaukee was not good to Ty at all.
Nope. And for folks that are probably wondering here, what do you mean by an L2 penalty? So NASCAR, for the uninitiated, with everything changing with the Gen 7 car, changed their penalty structures now. They have an L1, L2, and L3 penalties. L1 being just a very minor infraction, maybe something wrong in post-race tech, no big deal. But an L2 penalty, that's your next step up. That's it's a little more severe. And then obviously your L3 is something that could literally get you indefinitely suspended if you screw around too much. And in the case of Ty Majeski and the number 98 ThorSport team here, they were found in violation of sections 14.16.1 and 14.16.1 subsections A and C of the NASCAR rulebook, which deals with wheels and tires and wheel assembly, specifically the valve stem.
Wow.
So apparently the stem that you put all of the air into the car with, they're like, well, that's something up with that valve stem now. That's either a little too thin or a little too thick. You got too much air going in there, son.
Oh, my Lord. You can get a little picky about dumb things.
Yeah, right. I mean, again, we've had our call-outs with NASCAR this season. We've had them with them every season that we've been on the radio.
And we always get spanked by NASCAR, too. We just got spanked.
Yep, again. But you know what? We don't care.
Whatever.
Yep, exactly. And but the thing of the matter is, if you're going to be that picky over a valve stem, I'm sorry, you have nothing better to do than be asinine over something so small.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And
that's so stupid.
Yeah, but that's just my personal feeling on it. We'll let that rest. And with that said, actually though, folks, we are going to step aside. We're going to take our next foreign fuel here. But Andy, when we come back here, we've got Jesse Love, we've got Espargaro from MotoGP, Max Verstappen back in the news once again after their summer break, and even Alex Palou is back in the news again. I wonder why.
Nice.
Maybe we'll see what's going on with him when we come back.
I'm Captain Jeff Figures from Florida Fishing and Adventures. Do you want to constantly catch more fish, spend less time changing baits? If so, Monster 3X baits, jigs, and scents are the answer. Monster 3X baits are tough, durable, and resistant, which allows you to catch more fish per bait. The combination of the Monster 3X lure with the Procure Baits Super Scent, you will be landing more fish right away. Whether it's the Monster 3X Ultra Soft or the X Swim lures, swim shad, paddle tails, crawfish, or the X Frog. Monster 3X, you'll always find it in my tackle box.
Visit our website at burningrubberradio.com for recipes from the NASCAR chef, John Dix, and more great content. Now back to more Burning Rubber Radio.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network, Tan Talk Radio Network, Wingding.tv. Wayne Owens, Andy DeLay hanging out with you this week on the show of shows on Labor Day weekend here, Andy. Well, post-Labor Day weekend.
Post-Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, it's weird when you record a week ahead of time. You're like, hey, we're here on, hey, you know.
Yeah. They hear us after the asteroids already hit the Earth and everything. Hey, man, welcome back to Burning Rubber Radio last week.
Yeah, right, exactly. Which I tell you what, I've been working with Ed down at Tan Talk. We're gonna see if we can possibly move up the actual airing of the show by a few days so folks don't hear it so late.
Well, I know they're talking about Tan Talk. We're now on at 1 p.m. versus 10 a.m. on Saturdays down there. Got a second airing. Want to say hi to all the folks at Tan Talk Network listening to us on Tuesdays now.
Tuesdays at 8 p.m. And,
8 p.m., baby. That's pretty cool. So thanks for listening to Burning Rubber Radio.
And again, folks, we know we love all of our affiliates out there, but we've actually heard from some of the folks down in the Tantalk region, folks down in Dade City, Zephyr Hills. Yep. You guys are loving Burning Rubber, baby.
Oh, I'm glad.
And
they're not throwing stuff.
Yeah, they're not throwing the tomatoes at you, Andy.
Oh my gosh! Anyway,
but yeah, that's besides the point, though.
Well, really quick, tell us a little bit. We got some stuff going on in Italy, don't we?
We do have some stuff going on with Alex Pagnon, and actually, he's due back over here in the States, Andy. As far as from what I understand from John, and what little bit I've understood from Alex, is that they are actually going to be back over here in the States in October for another test.
Yeah, and I heard it's in the equipment of a very popular driver.
It's going to be in an ARCA car.
That's very cool, and looking forward to that, folks out there. Just so you know, we're going to be following Alex from Italy to the United States, not only for this test, but also as he comes over to run the ARCA series, and then hopefully the Xfinity series and into the Cup series. So this ought to be pretty cool. It's going to be a multi-year thing going on, and I'm excited about that.
No, it's definitely going to be a multi-year thing. There is no doubt about that, hands down, that we're going to be we're going to be keeping tabs on Alex and making sure everything goes as smooth as possible. In fact, myself and Alex, we were talking on Facebook this past weekend, looking forward to sitting down to a big old Italian style dinner when me and John go over to see him in Italy here in a couple of years.
Oh man, you need to take me.
Well, you can't. You're diabetic. You got to be careful.
I can still have my pasta once a week. This is why I say the diabetes and not having pasta.
And folks, if you're listening on the radio, he just threw the Kentucky Howdy at diabetes. So at least he's not doing the Wilford Brimley diabetes.
All right, exactly. So anyway, Alex, big shout out to you, buddy, over there, and I'm ready to get things going with that.
Yeah, really ready to get that stuff off the road there with that one there. Back in the news, though, Andy, we got to talk about this past weekend, the ARCA series back over at DuQuoin Speedway for another race this past weekend here, and Jesse Love back on top once again here with his 9th ARCA win of the season.
That's ARCA is a little different. They do that back-to-back DuQuoin Fairgrounds deal every year. There's something like it's called the Chief or something like that. I forgot. There's a name for those two races.
Yeah, I forget what it's called here. It's like the Illinois Chief or something like that.
Something like that. Anyway, that's pretty cool. It's good to see Love's, man, he's just been out there kicking everybody's rear end.
Oh man.
Doing a good job at it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's been out there whooping them. Moving on now over to the world here in MotoGP now, and who was it here? Espargaro. I'm trying to remember his name here. It's Alex Espargaro. I'll tell you what. This is one of those things that I'm glad Andy doesn't try and pronounce this name. Even though it is pronounced Alex, it is spelled Aleix.
Alex? Alex? Oh, I tear everybody's name in Europe up. I don't do it on purpose, folks. It's just me being the old Southern boy.
I was going to say, that's just his Southern hick coming out. That's all that is.
That is what it is.
But Alex Espargaro wins the Aprilia, even I screwed that one up. The Aprilia Catalan GP sweep this past weekend here, and they were actually red flagged for a little bit after the start. When championship leader Francesco Bagnaia crashed into turn number 2 while throwing the reigning champion off of his bike. And Bagnaia received medical attention following the accident, and he was taken also to a local hospital. So, hopefully for a speedy recovery for Francesco Bagnaia, because he is no slouch when it comes to MotoGP. So those rare accidents like that, yes. definitely not something you expect.
No. Well, man, those guys are crazy anyway. Hung off all those motorcycles at 200 miles an hour and stuff. Oh man, sliding off when you're riding and you lose the rear end, dragging the knee and stuff. Yeah, that kind of stinks. But when they end up sliding and then they do what they call high siding, when the wheels catch and then throw them right over the top of the tank, man, I just wonder how some of these guys just don't get killed.
Well, yeah, because unlike NASCAR and unlike IndyCar, there's nowhere near the amount of safety innovations in MotoGP. And
not at all.
So, I mean, you get thrown off that bike, you're going to be breaking ribs, breaking legs, breaking arms. Luckily, you don't break a neck, that whole thing. And then the road rash too, if you're thrown against the asphalt.
Yeah, they wear leathers versus fire suits. So hopefully they don't wear the leather off when they skid across the pavement.
I think that is one of the few safety innovations they have, is that their leathers are they're certified against a certain amount of skid.
I'm sure they are, man.
So.
Leather's cow skin, and if it wasn't the cow skin getting ripped off, it'd be your skin. So.
And I'm sorry. No, thank you.
Nope.
But moving on here over now into the world of the NTT IndyCar Series, and Alex Palou, Andy, he wins in Portland this past weekend, and even well before the end of the IndyCar season has clinched the IndyCar Championship for 2023.
Good deal. Alex Palou, awesome guy. Deserves it.
Yep.
He's had a heck of a good run this year.
He has, actually, yeah. And Portland was another good showing for Alex this past weekend. He officially clinched his second IndyCar Series title by leading 69 laps out of the 110-lap race at Portland International this past weekend, and also defeating Arrow McLaren's Felix Rosenqvist by over, are you ready for this, nearly 5.5 seconds.
That's an eternity in IndyCar.
Yep. So the fact that he had that big of a lead,
yeah, no doubt.
And
that was at Portland, you said.
Yep, that was at Portland, up there in the hills of Oregon.
Wow, that's impressive.
It really is. It really is. And one other couple of things. Oh, actually, two other things we're going to touch on here real quick. We promised you a teaser about a certain friend of ours in USF 2000. We're going to touch on that in just a minute here. But the other one we got to touch on, and Zach's not here to whine about it. Max Verstappen notches another record and wins the Italian Grand Prix this past weekend, Andy.
Verstappen, that's somebody else that's been hot as fire this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's easily got the championship in hand.
Yeah, I would dare say you're right, because one of the standout highlights in this article here is that the Red Bull Racing driver also, now this is where the record comes into play, broke a tie with Sebastian Vettel for the most consecutive victories in series history, and it was also the 15th, count 'em, 15th consecutive win for Red Bull.
That's great. Good job, Red Bull. It makes me wonder what happened to Mercedes. They were killing everybody last few years.
They were, and you barely hear anything about Lewis Hamilton this year and Mercedes.
Nothing.
I mean, it's almost like they got mired back in the back, and they just have not been able to get back up and going again.
The F1 is what they call the Formula One, the formula that they come out with every year, that every car, aero and all that other stuff. When they changed up the F1, the formula, it's just like Mercedes fell on their face.
Pretty much. Yep.
So,
yep.
Red Bull, go get them, boys. Girls.
They're having a ton of fun over in the world of the Formula Series with that one. And last thing we'll touch on here before we get ready to head up to our last foreign fuel here, or not last foreign fuel. We still have a couple more left in the show here. But we've gotta give props where props are due, man. This guy shouted "Burning Rubber, baby" earlier on in the year, and Simon Sykes in USF 2000 signs off with a championship reign.
Man, now we can tell folks that come on here, not only do you get 2/10, not only do you get wins, but baby, you get
championships. That was pretty in sync. I like that.
That's awesome, man. That's just so funny.
Oh, but yeah, some really, really good stuff for Simon Sykes this year over in USF 2000. And he's also a cohort of Taylor's over on the car chaser side of things as a producer, camera guy, whatever, pretty much whatever he's got going on. And so the fact that, Simon is as involved in motorsports as he is, and in multiple facets too, great stuff seeing Simon winning that USF title, because the cool part is that is road to IndyCar.
You want to know something, Wayne? I just thought of. Yeah, we followed all these big names, up into the Cup Series, Christopher Bell, everybody else from way back when they were just little snot-nosed kids running. But this is going to be our first IndyCar driver that we followed from, all the way up the ranks into the IndyCar series.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
And actually, speaking of other guys too, Chris Buescher, he come home in third place this past weekend over at Darlington too.
I thought Chris might have won that race. That would have all of a sudden, Chris Buescher, the end of the season, is a powerhouse.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where that team has been, and then all of a sudden, bing, all up front. They've just, Ford found something with them.
It's like the light switch has been hit, and they're not turning it off.
And I don't want to turn. You know what? He has earned this.
Yes, he has.
You go, Chris.
Yes, he has. Chris Buescher has definitely earned that, along with Simon Sykes earning that championship over USF 2000. So good on you, boy. We're proud of you here. And with that said here, we're going to step aside. We're going to take another quick foreign fuel, Andy. And when we come back, you know what time it is.
I'm starving.
Yeah, I know you are. I am too. The NASCAR Chef John Dix. When we come back.
Want to maximize your driving potential? Drive Refine is the driver optimization program for you. Led by NASCAR winning driver Joey Coulter. No matter if you race locally, nationally, or on a simulator, with a little or a lot of experience, Drive Refine focuses on your tuning scale to optimize communication between the driver and their crew chief. Visit driverefine.com for more information today.
Hey, this is former NASCAR driver Joey Coulter. This isn't your typical driver coaching. This is Drive Refine.
This is Burning Rubber Radio. Now let's get cooking in the kitchen with the NASCAR chef, John Dix.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network, Dan Talk Radio Network, Wingding.tv. Wayne Owens, Andy DeLay hanging out with you this week here on the show, folks. And Andy, we just had a mental picture come into our heads here that I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not lying either. It's got me kind of upchucking here. Talking about skinny jeans and putting Wayne Owens in the NASCAR Chef John Dixon skinny jeans. Oh my gosh! Talking about wardrobe malfunctions and stuff like that. As soon as he sat down or something, he ripped the whole dang bottom end out of him.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's only one thing to go with that.
Toasty. Okie doke. Anyway.
Yeah. Speaking of toasty, we have got to get on over here to the NASCAR Chef John Dix. John, what's up, buddy?
Hey guys, burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber, baby.
All right, so NASCAR Chef, I hear with it being the late summer and getting ready to turn into fall here in the next little bit, that you have got a sweet treat for Labor Day.
Yes, sir, Wayne. I tell you what, unfortunately, for what might be planned down the road, this is not a good recipe, but it's something fun and light and tasty anyway, so we're going to do it.
All right. Well, hit us with it, buddy. What you got?
All right. We're going to have some peaches and ice cream sandwiches.
By the way, folks, the image on screen does not reflect the actual item that is being prepared, so please do ignore the item, but look at the cool recipe.
Anyway.
Okay.
Well, I tell you what, it's a good thing we're professionals here.
Yeah.
Disclaimers and all.
Okay, we're going to start with 12 ice cream sandwiches, 2 pints of peach or mango sorbet, For the folks that don't know what sorbet is, it's kind of like a yogurt or kind of smoothie kind of thing. 8 ounces of sour cream, 1 cup of whipping cream, a half a cup of powdered sugar, and 2 cups of blueberries or your favorite fruit. Some people don't like blueberries. You can really top it with any kind of fruit. And this time of year, like Wayne said, all your fruit is available. It's getting into the end of the summer, so some of this stuff is still available. We're going to place the ice cream sandwiches in a 9x13 baking pan. You might have to cut some of them to get it to fit, which is fine. Spread the sorbet on top of the ice cream sandwiches and then freeze it for about 30 minutes. While you're doing that, in a bowl, you're going to mix the sour cream, the whipping cream, the powdered sugar, and if it's easier, you can use an electric mixer to mix it up. Guys, we're going to take the ice cream sandwiches out of the freezer and spread the mixer on top of it, okay, on top of the sorbet that's on top of the ice cream sandwiches, and then freeze it for about 4 or 5 hours. If you want to do it the night before and let it sit in the freezer overnight, that'll be fine. That's not going to hurt it a bit. Then, guys, when you take it out, you're going to sprinkle the fruit on the top and serve it. And, gang, this is a good, cool, refreshing dessert and a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm already to have some.
I was gonna say that sounds pretty delicious, if I do say so myself.
It always sounds good. Anything the NASCAR chef does sounds good.
Amen to that.
It is good.
It is good. Oh yeah. And just picturing skinny jeans, man, and ice cream sandwiches. That just does not go hand in hand together.
No.
Folks, considering John's wife Robin has been talking about taking photos of him in said skinny jeans, I'm not gonna lie to you, we're a little scared for the future.
Yeah, I am. This is all going to happen at the test, I guess, that ARCA test in October we're going to tell folks about anyway. Anyway, folks, if you want to get a hold of the NASCAR chef, you can easily do so. Drop them a line at racing, that's RACING 2, the number 2, the grill at gmail.com. And if you have a recipe, send it to John and we'll put it up here. Right, John?
That's right, Andy. Everybody send me what you like and what you want to do, and we'll have a lot of fun with it.
Sounds like a plan, brother. Well, with that said, here, we can't let you leave the segment without those 3 famous words.
Burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber.
Burning rubber, baby.
All right. And with that said, here, folks, enjoy the one last good look at the recipe here. We've had it up the whole time for you, so one way or another, I'm pretty sure you've taken it down by now or gotten a picture of it.
Wingding.tv, and you can see it for yourself if you're listening on the radio.
Oh, yeah. You can see it. And but with that said here, folks, we are going to step aside. We are going to take one quick 2-tire change, and we haven't had them on for weeks, but we're going to have a copy of the iRacers download with Taylor Burris coming up next, baby.
I'm Captain Jeff Figures from Florida Fishing and Adventures. Do you want to constantly catch more fish, spend less time changing baits? If so, Monster 3X baits, jigs, and scents are the answer. Monster 3X baits are tough, durable, and resistant, which allows you to catch more fish per bait. The combination of the Monster 3X lure with the Pro-Cure Baits Super Scent, you will be landing more fish right away. Whether it's the Monster 3X Ultra Soft or the X-Swim lures, swim shad, paddle tails, crawfish, or the X-Frog, Monster 3X, you'll always find it in my tackle box.
Burning Rubber Radio is social. Like the show at facebook.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Follow on Twitter at twitter.com/BRR_PMN. And on Instagram at instagram.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network, Tan Talk Radio Network, Wingding.tv. Wayne Owens and, wait a minute, that's not Andy DeLay. Who the heck is that? Hey, Taylor Burris!
Have returned. The prodigal son has returned.
Oh, man. Where have you been, you salty dog?
Everywhere. Let's just say that. So I just got back not too long ago from Cincinnati, getting ready to head to the middle. I ain't going to say this, or you can kind of do a air ranch, middle of freaking New Jersey. This coming weekend. But anywho, and then of course after that we'll be going to places such as Indianapolis, Charlotte, and then finally for the next 2 weeks or next 2 months in October and November. 2 trips to Vegas. So looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of things that have happened. But we're here to talk about iRacing stuff, which is getting ready to go into their 2023 Season 4 build. And it's an exciting one, I have to say, for some new content and some new stuff. So let's go into it, of course. First and foremost, go ahead.
I said, well, do tell.
I will. First and foremost, at least 2 brand new tracks are coming on. This is still not officially confirmed as far as there could be more tracks, more cars that have released, but these are the first 2 confirmed tracks, and that's Kern County Raceway Park, located over in California, Kevin Harvick's backyard, utilizing not 1, not 2, but 4 different layouts, utilizing the paved oval, the Legends Oval, the full dirt oval, which is right across the street from the paved oval, and then the inner dirt oval, which is going to be exciting as we get a twofer. So for those of you who want to buy this track, you actually get both oval asphalt and oval dirt at the price of 1. So really good deal indeed.
Very cool. So they get the oval dirt, oval asphalt, and then of course they get those other 2 smaller configurations included as well. Yeah.
It certainly is. Another track that is brand new to iRacing, Circuit de Ledenen, which is located in France, a new French circuit coming on board with iRacing. You get the chance to drive on the hallowed grounds there as iRacing is stepping over more into the European, Asia, and Australia branches to be able to reach to some of the circuits over there on the other side across the pond. And another big one that we're all talking about is a brand new rescan of one of iRacing's historical tracks that we've had on the service for quite some time. In fact, iRacing's first European circuit, Circuit Zandvoort, home of the Dutch Grand Prix that we just saw not too long ago in Formula One. Exciting to see how that will play out. So those are the first 3 confirmed tracks that are supposedly coming on in Season 4, which is starting this week later on. But the big 4 cars that are released coming up. First off, for those of you who are fans of all things 1987 with NASCAR, the 1987 Pontiac Grand Prix will be coming online for you the chance to drive that car along with the Buick LeSabre, the Ford Thunderbird, and the Chevy Monte Carlo in the 1987 Cup cars. And it certainly is exciting, and of course that is so with the help of Dale Jr. to bring that car along with the other 1987 cars that were added on for the service. Now, this is what we've all been waiting for.
Okay.
2 brand new GTP cars to join our fellow BMW and Cadillac GTPs, but the Porsche 963 GTP and the Acura ARX 06 GTP cars will join their IMSA friends and have the full IMSA prototype lineup now on iRacing, which everyone's excited about. Photos for these 2 have been showcased all across the iRacing social media, and everyone has fallen in love with both of them. And of course, people from Porsche, people from Wayne Taylor, people from Acura showcasing the brand new photos, and people cannot stop talking about it. And then one more thing that's kind of a bit of a surprise that none of us expected, but the brand new Ferrari 296 GT3 car, which is currently used in the 2023 GT3 ranks with the Ferrari 296, and that was a big surprise. That's going to be the new GT3 that you'll get the chance to drive on the iRacing platform, replacing the Ferrari 48 GT3 Evo that we've had for about a couple of seasons now, so we'll get the chance to see that. There is some other things that have been implied. I can't go into detail because iRacing has had some issues with that here recently, so I won't go into too much about it. But
people violating NDAs, huh?
Pretty much people violating NDAs, unfortunately. So we can't say what they are, but if it doesn't come out this season, but it comes in future seasons, it would be something that kind of would change the world in certain ranking on iRacing, which would be pretty cool to see if it were to come out later on in future seasons or even coming up in this season. So far, as we see, 4 cars, 3 tracks, 1 is a rescan, 2 are completely brand new circuits for you to enjoy, and you get the chance to purchase these tracks on Wednesday, which is, of course, on September the 6th, if you want to have the chance to see what you can do on these brand new contents for you to have and enjoy. But Besides that, we have to talk about some other things, as we'll see here, but unfortunately, we'll have to delve on that next time on the iRacers Download.
Yeah, we'll have to dig into that next time on the iRacers Download, but, a couple of things we got to touch on here real quick before we head to the next break here, T. One, and this is just me having a little fun because this is Burning Rubber Radio, but, the fact that we're getting a couple of Europeans tracks and more sports cars versus, say, Cup cars, for instance, all I got to say to that is, wee.
Well, iRacing Nation, we just ignore him and move on. Enjoy the new content next week and have fun with it.
Hey, you got to admit it was that was funny.
No. Good try though. A for effort.
Yeah, well, you know what? Boo on you too. One last thing we got to touch on here real quick before we head to our Final Four and Fuel. We actually touched on it earlier in News of the Week here. Your boy Simon Sykes getting that USF 2000 championship, brother.
It was great to see, and of course, not only that, but he picked up the last win of the season Sunday, of course. So great way to tie a little bow on that. He finished second, and both race 1 and race 2 took home the win in race 3. So we're happy to have that championship. We're going to be looking forward to talking to him in a couple of weeks' time as well.
I was going to say, when are we going to have him on?
I mean, we just got to schedule it out.
Well, all right. Well, with that said here, folks, be looking out for Simon Sykes to be back on Burning Rubber Radio, because you know what's funny, T? We'll say this right before we go to break here, is that now with the old Burning Rubber baby shout, not only does it get drivers at 2/10 on the track, not only does it get drivers race wins, now we can say we've gotten drivers championships.
Indeed. So we're happy about that. Happy for Simon. Great big shout out to him, and looking forward to having him back on BRR.
Very much so. Well, with that said here, folks, we are going to step aside. We're going to take one Final Four and Fuel, and when we come back, we're going to have some final news of the week, including picks for Kansas.
Want to maximize your driving potential? Drive Refine as the driver optimization program for you. Led by NASCAR winning driver Joey Coulter. No matter if you race locally, nationally, or on a simulator, with a little or a lot of experience, Drive Refine focuses on your tuning scale to optimize communication between the driver and their crew chief. Visit driverefine.com for more information today.
Hey, this is former NASCAR driver Joey Coulter. This isn't your typical driver coaching. This is Drive Refine.
Burning Rubber Radio is social. Like the show at facebook.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Follow on Twitter at twitter.com/BRR_PMN. And on Instagram at Instagram.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network, Tan Talk Radio Network, Wingding.tv. Wayne Owens, Andy DeLay, and the NASCAR Shift, John Dix, hanging out with you here for the last segment of the show. Taylor Burris had to run away already, Andy. I guess we scared him off.
He's going to party with his buddy.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Simon Sykes, but again, good stuff on him winning the USF 2000 championship this year, and big congratulations for that young man. He's earned it. I mean, there's just no doubt about that. Actually, speaking of other fun things here, news-wise, before we get ourselves over to picks here for the week for Kansas Speedway, and that being that John Force is back in the news, Andy. He got himself his first ever Mission Too Fast, Too Tasty victory this past weekend at Indianapolis.
Yay! And just so folks know, John Force isn't a spring chicken anymore. He's in his 70s, well into his 70s.
Well, considering he would have been the same age as Dad would have been, that makes John Force, as of this year, 73 years old.
Wow! And good for him. He's still out there being competitive, and I don't think age is going to stop this guy.
No, not at all. No, I mean I hate to say it. It's gonna take the good Lord calling him to the heavenly quarter mile before that happens.
Yeah, that's right, man. There's no doubt.
Yep.
Good for you, John. Keep going, buddy.
Right, exactly. Good stuff all the way around there. And speaking of John Force Auto Racing, this past weekend, the U.S. Nationals up in Indianapolis. Robert Hight for John Force Racing claims his first funny car specialty win at Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park on Sunday, defeating Matt Hagan in the final round of the Pep Boys NHRA Funny Car All-Star Callout and the 69th annual Dodge Power Brokers NHRA U.S. Nationals. It used to be the USA Nationals for a little bit of time there. And
right.
But again, good stuff for John Force Racing this past weekend. Double dipping in the victory circle for the NHRA this past week.
Oh, all right. So, and what about Brittany Force and them and Top Fuel? Anything?
Looking over here, let's see. No, Steve Torrance had the standout this past weekend in Top Fuel with a 3.708 at 3. Now, you ready for this? Because we talked to Dawn about this last week.
Mm-hmm.
Top Fuel, the standout speed this week, 329.42 miles per hour.
Yeah, how? It's just how. That's crazy.
You want to know how? Take a guess how much horsepower goes into these cars, Andy.
About 6,000.
Try 11,000.
No way.
These top fuel cars are pushing out 11,000 horsepower.
And how do you get that to the ground? I mean, I've seen those pictures of, the quick shot pictures, and it seems like the tires are all ripping around the rim and everything, and you wonder how they keep the air in them.
A lot of it is the wheelie bar that's on the rear of the car. That helps for a lot of it.
Yeah, man, I don't mind watching it. I ain't gonna do it, but props to all those that do.
And actually now here's another funny one too, because speaking of Brittany Force, Andy, the defending world champion stayed second overall with her 3.709 run time. Now her speed, however, faster than Steve Torrance's. You ready for this one?
Oh my gosh.
333.25 miles per hour.
That is nuts.
So
good for her.
And again, folks, what we're talking about here, because as you remember our guest last week, Dawn Perdue, who races the Jet Dragsters, they're doing 299 miles per hour with a jet plane engine in those cars with afterburners, the whole 9 yards. These guys here, nitro methane fuel inside of these cars. They are doing well over 30 to 40 miles per hour faster, and in 1.5 to 2 seconds less time.
You think of that, how crazy that is, period. But then think, you got to stop all that on a closed course. I mean, there's not a whole bunch of room to stop these things.
No.
And that in itself has got to be something else.
And that's where you hope the parachute really works like it's supposed to, because that was another thing that Dawn even mentioned last week as well too, is that when she's going down the track at that speed, she's feeling about 5 G's, which literally is just like,
yeah, really.
And then of course the sudden stop at a -7 G's, which literally is virtually like pulling your soul out of your body to get you stopped. With that said here, folks, we have got to get ourselves over to picks. And for Kansas this week, Andy, you, my friend, have number 1.
I'm going with my good buddy, Chris Buescher.
All right. So you're thinking he's going to get her done once again here on the Intermediates of Kansas.
All day long. He's hotter as fire right now.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt in that. Me, on the other hand, I'm going to go with Mr. Video Game Move himself. I'm going to say Ross Chastain is going to do something this weekend coming up at Kansas. He's about due, I think, to have something happen for him here. Taylor Burris, on the other hand, him and Zachary Murtis both, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, but they're going with Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, I guess they like losing.
I wish I had a big gong or actually, you know what? I think that's gonna be something I add to the sound effects repertoire. Is a big old buzzer like.
Gong.
God, that takes me back to the days of the Gong Show. You remember that?
Oh yeah, Chuck Barris and the Chuck Gong Show. My gosh, that dates us, brother.
Yeah, it does. And which also I don't mean to interrupt picks for this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it now. Rest in peace to both Bob Barker and Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, and Chuck Barris.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, because Bob Barker just passed away this last week, and then Jimmy Buffett over the weekend.
Yeah. Chuck Barris from the Gong Show. He's been gone for a little while.
Yep, he's been going for a little while. But I don't know if you saw the old jokes roaming around, Andy. Speaking of Bob Barker, they made the joke recently where, he died at 99. He didn't go over $1.
He didn't bust $1. I saw that. I saw it's funny. Rest his soul. Man.
Yep. Rest in peace to Bob Barker.
Da-da-da-da. The price is right, baby.
Yep. And nobody will ever do it as good as him. I'm sorry, Drew Carey. You're just not as good. And John Dix, you are up next, my friend.
Well, guys, the 2311 won last year, and actually Bubba Wallace won in the 45 car, if I remember right. And this year, that's who I'm picking, Tyler Reddick in the 45.
He did win in Kurt Busch's equipment last year. So now he's in his own equipment, and I got a feeling he's going to go speedy.
You don't think he did pretty good at Darlington?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens. So Bobby Dale Earnhardt, he originally was going to get a default pick, and actually, ironically, I don't know why, I don't know how, I can't explain it. He has chosen to take the default pick and go with Justin Haley for this.
Oh
weekend.
my gosh.
Coming up here at Kansas Speedway. Justin's a good friend. We rip on each other back and forth every once in a while. So Justin's good people.
Yeah. He's a good guy, but I wouldn't pick him to win.
I mean, hey, like what you said with me and Alex Bowman. If Haley does end up winning, we're gonna have to eat some crow.
Oh, we will. Especially if Bubba wins this race, we're gonna get beat down.
Yep, exactly. And definitely. Oh boy, that's gonna be ouch. That's gonna be interesting. All right. Well, with that said, here, folks, we have got to get ourselves out of here for another week of Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network, the Tan Talk Radio Network, Wingding.tv. Andy, man, I tell you what, again, it's hard to believe an hour's already gone by, but we are the fastest 60 minutes in motorsports. It's Burning Rubber, baby, on the Performance Motorsports Network and everywhere else, folks. We love you. And until next week, happy Labor Day. Burning Rubber, baby.
Burning Rubber, baby.
Burning Rubber Radio is a production of the Performance Motorsports Network in association with the White Lightning TV studios in Statesville, North Carolina. This week's episode was produced by Wayne Owens. Remember to visit burningrubberradio.com for news, recipes, and more great content. Burning Rubber Radio may also be downloaded from our podcast site, pmn2.com, or from Spotify, iTunes, or Google Podcasts. The opinions expressed on this show are those of the hosts and guests and do not reflect those of the Performance Motorsports Network or the Scorpion Radio Group. Any use of the accounts or descriptions contained in this broadcast must be with the express written permission of the Performance Motorsports Network or the Scorpion Radio Group.